everyone, and welcome to the Roger E. Carlson Fieldhouse for CTN's live coverage of high school wrestling, a Northwest Suburban Conference matchup as the Coon Rapids Cardinals take on the Centennial Cougars. Joe Young, joined by the Golden Grappler himself, Zahn Nienaber. Zahn, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
And Coon Rapids team doing very well so far this year, especially in the conference, undefeated, coming in against the Centennial team that is not ranked, has no ranked wrestlers.
Yeah, very balanced Coon Rapids team this year. They've had an outstanding start in the conference season, and it looks like they're going to look for a good tune-up here as they start to head into the prime time of the section tournaments to advance to a possible state tournament.
Always a tough section in Section 7 for Coon Rapids, and they know that Anoka, for one, in that section will be looking for a little bit of payback for the regular season victory. And, of course, you have to be concerned with Forest Lake as well in that section.
Yeah, usual tough section, but I see it being probably more balanced this year from the top 4 or 5 seeds to where it's been before, where the St. Michael's and Anoka's always seem to have that notch above everybody else. But now I see it being very balanced. I mean, Blaine, Coon Rapids had a great match. Anoka, Coon Rapids, another great match.
Well, and it definitely benefited the Cardinals. It was a tough addition when St. Michael Albertville moved to AA and joined Section 7 right away. It makes things a little bit easier to manage now that they have moved out. We start at 106 with 7th grader Jaden Lilly on the mat for Coon Rapids against Centennial's Luke Timko. A very early takedown for Lilly.
Quick cradle.
Good deep shot by Timko. Really able to fight it off for a while, but the takedown for Timko will give him a 3-2 lead.
Nice sprawl there by Lilly, but just not enough strength to hold off Timko.
Nearly a reversal there by Lilly, but Timko able to stay out of it. And now an escape will even things up. A lot of action in the first minute of this first round.
I did hear Coach Tronson, as soon as Lilly scored that first takedown and threw a cradle on right from the top, he told him not to get too wild, so he doesn't want him to be too aggressive and make a big mistake.
Another takedown for Timko. Able to get stood up, but a good takedown by Timko as he just wrapped up the ankles. Well, the story for this Coon Rapids team all season long has been their strength from the middle up. Capped off by top-ranked heavyweight Gavin Layton. 5-3 lead for Luke Timko to start the second period.
Yes, I did watch that Anoka match where they jumped way out front early, and then Coon Rapids finished with a bang.
Well, and the Blaine match very similar, and I think the Blaine match actually a larger lead to start. Able to get some more bonus points at the lower weight classes, but Coon Rapids came back with back-to-back pins to get the win by 1 or 2 points. So fun one. We were at that one as well.
I believe it was 1, and I think that first pin wasn't the guy down 10-0 or something like that in the match?
Yep. That was Riley Hargrave came up with both the matches we've done, he has really a turning point in that 220-pound spot. The Blaine, he was down big going into the third period and would need at least a tech fall in order to give his team a chance to win, and ended up getting the pin. And then against Anoka, he stayed off his back against a highly ranked heavyweight at 220. And Lilly in a lot of trouble right now midway through this second period. Good bridge to able to get back to his base. Timko will get 3 on the near fall.
That was a nice move by Timko, going from head in the armpit to the chicken wing arm bar. Now he's going to walk the head again.
And he gets the pin right on the edge of the circle. 40 seconds remaining in the second period.
2 minutes, 20 seconds. Luke Timko. At 113 pounds for Coon Rapids, Andre Dima, Centennial's open.
And Coon Rapids will get the forfeit at 113.
At 120 pounds for Coon Rapids, Israel Madimba, Centennial is open.
Israel Madimba will also get a forfeit at 120. And this is something I don't know if the popularity is waning in the area, but we have seen, or it seems I have seen more and more teams with a lot of open spots.
Yeah, as we talked a little bit earlier, I agree. We're seeing it more and more common, and I don't know if it's a case where, I don't know how many years ago it was now that they went from 12 weight classes up to 14. If that's had an impact on it, I know it creates more opportunities for a lot of teams, but I think it also hurts the sport when we have a lot of forfeits at a lot of these weights in dual meets.
Enoch Madimba on the mat at 126 for the Cardinals against Aiden Cummins for Centennial. And a good deep single leg by Madimba, and able to finish it off. There will be Madimbas in the lineup for the Cardinals for some time.
Yes, Israel just a 7th grader.
And Moses, just such a big part of this team the last few years, ended his career at the state tournament last year. This is Enoch, the freshman.
Enoch working very hard here to try and get some control with the arm bar. Cummins doing a nice job though, keeping his hips off the mat. Very tough to turn.
Madimba works his way through it, gets him flipped over. 30 seconds left and a first period pin for Enoch Madimba.
31 seconds. Enoch Madimba.
Interesting that Centennial gets a pin at 106. And then the next match we see go to the mat, it's a pin for Coon Rapids. Same move.
Exact same pinning combination.
Matt. Tim Horst on the mat for the Cardinals, getting the first points with the takedown. Malachi Thonis, his opponent.
Thonis doing a nice job. Tried a fireman's carry there on Horst, but Horst able to defend it and fight it off. Did a nice job grabbing the back leg and eventually turning it into a 2-point takedown for himself.
Working on a cradle underneath. Thonis trying to back his way out from underneath. Horst looked for the cradle again, and now trying to get in control of that left arm. Down to 20 seconds remaining, first period. Nice job keeping control of that right leg, not getting Thonis an opportunity to scramble away.
Nice job picking that ankle up, prevented that stand up, and hard to do a stand up with just one leg. Here we look at the counter move by Horst, resulting in the 2-point takedown.
Only points of that first period. And now Thonis will start out on top here in period number 2.
Both wrestlers, when they've been on the bottom, have done a nice job of keeping their hips off the mat, really preventing the opponent from breaking them down.
Thonis working his way back around behind Horst. And then getting caught
Nice side roll.
as he tried to roll him over and forced to bridge his way out of it. To be 2 near fall points.
Trying to work a half Nelson series here.
.45 seconds remaining, period number 2. A 6-0 lead now for Tim Horst at 132.
Looks like we have a cradle here.
Rolls him over and has Thonis in some trouble. Thonis able to kick his way out and get Horst in some trouble. And Horst gives up some points. 5 points on the reversal and 3 back points. There were 2 near fall points
really
for
close.
Horst before.
Horst was close to getting pinned there, but I think Dennis, his arm was actually in the way.
Horst, a nice job of countering on the switch attempt. Had Thonis in some trouble. Thonis able to battle back to his base. Three back points coming for Tim Horst.
The first 2.5 periods of this match has been very physical. Both wrestlers wrestling a physical style match.
6-point lead now, and a great Brandy roll to get over the top by Thonis. Horst able to get his head out. Thonis still battling to get him angled to the mat.
Rapids has not given up any points yet.
So close to getting him angled toward his back, and yet Horst did not even give up reversal points in all of that. Buzzer will sound. It'll be an 11-5 decision in favor of Horst.
Tim Horst. At 138 pounds for Centennial, Adam Johnson. And for Coon Rapids, Jacob Linville.
And you talked about a very physical match and a lot of back and forth where points could have been gone either way very quickly.
Both wrestlers wrestling on the edge, and they were, both very close to getting into some big trouble where it could have been a pin for either team.
Jacob Linville for Coon Rapids, a very early takedown on Adam Johnson. Nearly had him in some trouble, and then did not give up the reversal, almost a reversal by Johnson, and even the referee was confused. Who was he supposed to be awarding points to?
It's a good scramble there by both wrestlers, actually.
Johnson working hard on that left ankle. And there is the reversal for Johnson.
Quick switch.
And then a very quick reversal for Linville. And really every match we've seen already, a lot of action, and right away, both teams, every wrestler who's gone to the mat being very aggressive. Johnson got caught trying to get out, nearly went straight to his back, but able to roll out of it.
Linville here is doing a nice job with his legs. He's actually controlling, wrestling with his legs on the bottom half of that body, taking away one of Johnson's.
A busy first period will end with Linville up 6-2.
Take another look at that switch by Linville. It's a really textbook.
Especially right after Johnson had gotten the reversal to get into the control position for a very short amount of time.
Right, you usually see that switch working off of another move where you stand up and as you're going back to the mat, you run the switch or you do a sit out and then a switch. That was just a nice job of a straight switch right from the start.
Linville on top to start period number 2, and he was there most of the first. Lost control a little bit, but then got right back on top, and now has Johnson in some trouble right in the center of the mat. Johnson able to get his hips rolled over.
Linville seems very comfortable in these scramble situations. Here's going to go for a 3/4 Nelson.
And he's going to get some more back points at least, and back in trouble in the center of the mat is Johnson.
2 near fall, Coon Rapids.
11-2 the lead, and
Linville starting to take control of the match, but again, he's got to be careful. He's gotten himself into some almost trouble a couple of times.
Down to 30 seconds in the second period.
2 near fall Coon Rapids.
Another attempt to roll out of a hold by a Centennial wrestler, but this time Johnson gets caught.
Like I say, it all starts by controlling those legs. Doing a nice job wrestling with the legs in. Some guys get into a lot of trouble when they try that. Linville seems very comfortable with it.
Oh, he seemed very comfortable on top. He had 8 near fall points in the period and starts the third up 16-2. And he chooses the neutral position.
Got a quarter Nelson on here and going to tip him. To a
And now
headlock.
in trouble again is Johnson right off the start. And if this isn't a pin, it's a tech fall because he's going to get back points.
Yep, needs to flip his hips through. Wants his butt to face the mat. There we go. Now he can arch his
Gets up
back.
high on the headlock, and there is the pin early in this third period.
With the fall of 4 minutes, 39 seconds, Jacob Linville.
And Alex Kowalczyk
At 145 pounds for Centennial.
was at state last year. He has not been ranked all season long until this week's rankings came out, and he is ranked number 8 at 145. And I know that he was one of the guys at the beginning of the year we talked to that was, not happy to see that they weren't ranked right away to start, but definitely saw that as reason to prove people wrong.
Use that to your advantage. And he has, and I think Alex is going to have another nice finish to this season. Just depends what weight class he decides to go at there when they reach sections.
Working on the right arm, trying chicken wing.
Trying to control the arms and hands
Now
here.
goes arm bar on the right side.
Get out perpendicular, and he's got double arm bar.
And in some trouble in the middle is Zach Mulberry.
Just get his knee off the mat there and put a little more pressure on.
Always impresses me with the amount of flexibility these guys have to be that close to the mat and still have, and have their arms all tied up and still find a way to turn out of it and get their hips over. Another takedown for Kowalczyk puts his lead to 7-1.
You're right. There's a lot of guys, some guys that just aren't very familiar with that position of getting themselves into trouble. So it is something they have to actually work on in practice.
Well, they had, I don't remember which tournament it was, but they had a match earlier this season the Cardinals did where 2 guys ended up giving up defensive pins. Where they were in pinning combinations, got themselves in trouble, ended up getting...
Basically pinning themselves?
Yep. And he said it doesn't happen very often. We had it happen twice in one match. He said he hadn't seen it happen in close to 20 years. But they got that out of the way early in the year, and hopefully everybody learned a lesson.
I've seen that happen in a state tournament many years ago where the top-seeded wrestler did it to himself.
Mulberry kind of high on the back, but keeping pretty good control of the head so far in this second period. Not giving Kowalczyk a chance to get his head up, and now just too high, he has to scoot off, and that'll be another point for Kowalczyk.
Mulberry did a good, smart thing there of giving up the 1-point escape, because he could have been in trouble there. With
Great shot for the single leg.
Here's where Kowalczyk being so long and strong that he was deep in on a single leg takedown there, and he's able to sprawl out of it.
Yeah, he had good control of the one ankle too for a moment, but Kowalczyk able to get over the top, as you mentioned, using that length and turn it into a takedown for himself. And
that's the thing I do like about Kowalczyk, from seeing him last year and a few matches this year, is he can be both an offensive and a defensive wrestler. He can initiate takedowns, and he's also very good at countering the takedowns and turning them into points for himself. He's just an all-round wrestler where if he runs into somebody of any style, he should still have a chance.
Big trouble for Mulberry, and just 4 seconds left in the second when he gets the pin.
56 seconds, Alex Kowalczyk.
This
look
pinning
at it.
combination is looking familiar tonight.
Yeah. It's always seemed odd to me. A lot of times we see the same combinations, like, oh, what did they work on in practice this week?
You're exactly right. I mean, I've seen that many times where teams will.
Dalen Jones quickly with a takedown, and he's got Petershevsky in some trouble in the center of the mat right off the opening whistle.
And there's so many times where you'll see a team come out that you can tell that they've been working on a headlock that week, or they've been working on single legs, fireman's carries, whatever it is, and all of a sudden kids come out and execute it correctly.
And then go back to the coaches and say, hey, coach, you were right, it worked.
Trust me, the coaches do love that.
One thing that coaches and parents have in common, they don't hear "you were right" enough. Dalen Jones, quick work at 152, 53-second pin.
At 160 pounds for Centennial, Jonah Hilton.
Jonah Hilton will come to the mat for Centennial against Coon Rapids' Demetrius Seals. We just saw Dalen Jones. He doesn't get to wrestle 2 in a row, even if the first one was over quickly. This match has definitely not been lacking of action. Every single match that has gone to the mat, it has been instant action. So often you see them kind of feeling each other out and doing some strength tests up top, locking up.
Right, we have not seen any stalling warnings or anything close to it.
The ref may give him a warning for too many points awarded to both teams in too quick a fashion, so slow down, guys. He's had a couple of times where, I got 2 points for red and 2 and then 3 for green, and then there might have been 2 more for red.
And then I have to remember all that.
And it has been back and forth just about every one. Seals got in, got the knee, but sprawling to stay away is Hilton. And much like Kowalczyk, just using that length to his advantage.
Just thinking the exact same thing, that was just like Kowalczyk there, doing a nice counter move after the Seals gets in fairly deep on a single leg takedown. Seals works his way back to his feet.
A good job of controlling one and breaking him back down by Hilton. Less than 10 seconds, should be able to ride it out and have a lead going into the second period. And he will be up 2-0 as we go to the second. Another look at the counter that led to the only points of that first period for Jonah Hilton.
It's a nice move. And Seals has had some great matches this year. He's come through some big. I think it's really helped him with him and Jones both in the room at the same, close to the same weight. I think they're both feeding off each other. They're both going to have a good season finishing the section tournaments.
And both are juniors, and now Seals in some trouble. Quick bridge and able to get back to his base before giving up any points.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Seals, didn't he have the big kind of a match kind of like this against Anoka? Started out a little bit slow, came from behind and won.
And he ended up winning by one. I don't remember if that
At
one
the
went
very
to
end.
overtime.
Well, that one
But
might
yeah,
have been the overtime one.
I don't remember if that was the overtime one or he scored a takedown late in the third or.
And then he won it, and then I think he won it in overtime maybe. But I know it was a good match. I know he started out a little bit slow, but finished very strong.
Let's see, versus Anoka. Seals won his match 12-6. It was Zach Thomas that won in overtime.
Okay, that was.
Which is Zach Thomas, we should see at 170 coming up next. Good switch, back to his feet. And Hilton, nice job to fight it, but then continuing to battle is Seals and nearly just has to get around behind. He'll just take his 1 point.
Get very close to reversals and near fall points even.
A takedown just before the end of the period will give Seals a 3-2 lead going to the third.
It's a great job wrestling all the way to the end, executing a good move. Set that up nicely.
Johnson quickly to his feet to start the third. Seals able to keep him at bay. Able to roll him over, and he's going to get some back points here. Increases lead to 6-2. Oh.
Nice half Nelson.
Yeah, and that was Hilton just made a bad move, and Seals caught him in it, and now Seals a chance here with a little less than a minute left in the third. He will get another pin for the home team.
Seals, that's a nice job of that half Nelson. When he first put that in, it was just textbook. You can see him raising the head of his opponent. Making it right here. He elevated that head. Then when he put the head back down, shoulders came with it.
4 straight pins for Coon Rapids, 5 in the last 6 matches as we move to 170. Jaden Van Vickel on for Coon Rapids.
At 170 pounds for Coon Rapids, Jaden Van Vickel, Centennial is open.
And he will win by forfeit.
At 182 pounds for Centennial, Isaiah Benninger, and for Coon Rapids, Zach Thomas.
Isaiah Bettinger on at 182 for Centennial. Zach Thomas will compete for the Cardinals. Thomas, another one that finally broke into the top 10 this week at 170, ranked number 10.
I like this where the Coon Rapids wrestlers are starting to peak here, where they're all going up in the rankings versus the opposite of dropping as the season goes on.
Thomas got the leg way, way up. Bettinger trying to dance around behind him and keep from giving up the takedown, and he does, and now stop for a potentially dangerous hold.
Both wrestlers battling for hand control here.
Well, this is the kind of thing I was just talking about earlier, that we haven't seen a lot of this so far.
No.
The strength and coupling up top, and
Yeah, the tying up, where they tie each other up on the upper half. We haven't seen any of it tonight until right now, and it is something that you would usually see a little bit more out of the bigger guys, but that's a nice single leg, just like Zach had on Bettinger. Thomas
short time, and Thomas looks up at the clock and makes sure he stays over the top, and there will be no score going to the second. Thomas looking for a cradle.
He's got his hands clasped. He's got to decide which way he wants to roll him over. Thomas again here doing a nice job controlling the legs.
I was just going to say, you see him using his legs and making sure he's not giving Bettinger control on the lower half.
He's been doing a pretty good job of keeping Bettinger broken down to the mat.
Stalemate with 45 seconds left. Second period. Still no points in this match.
Good call by the official. Sometimes you see that a little bit quicker stalemate called when guys put the legs in.
A quick stand-up.
Nice little stand-up switch.
But they are going to give an escape to Bettinger on the edge of the mat.
1 point escape for Centennial.
Yeah, but then he's telling him that he's in the down position. But if there's an escape, they should be neutral.
Coach Tronson and Coach Betts.
Well, it was close to being a reversal, and then Thomas, I think, wisely gets himself off the mat so he knows that it won't be a reversal. So I don't, but that's what they're going to go with. The point stays on the board, so somehow an escape, but not an escape. Good job by Bettinger controlling that left ankle underneath.
Like that was some type of penalty point for going off the mat.
So we will go to the third period. Bettinger holding on to that 1-0 lead. Thomas will start on the bottom, trailing by 1.
Thomas in a close match going into the third period. I think he's very comfortable with this situation.
Very quick switch, gets to his feet. Bettinger able to break him back down.
There's a penalty
point, a reversal. So a 3-1 lead.
It was a real nice combination of moves by Thomas. Went from, I think it was a switch to a stand-up, and actually to another switch. Really created the penalty point on Bettinger and then finished the reversal.
And now the cradle underneath gets him rolled back over. Bettinger kicking. A lot of time here in this third period trying to get his knee into that right side of Bettinger and get him bent to the mat.
He's going to slip that shoulder if he wants to get the pin, or he can just hold him there for another minute.
Great third period here for Zach Thomas. He'll get 3 near fall points at least. There they are. So 6 points in this period. He has a 6-1 lead. 40 seconds remain in the third period. Stop for a potential dangerous.
Not sure what Zach's working on the inside of his knee there. He's been doing that actually with both knees.
Cramp?
I thought I read cramp. It's kind of an odd spot.
I don't know. Can you get a hip pointer in your knee? Because I saw him working on his knee a little bit earlier, like before they even wrestled.
Right, and then I
So I don't know if he's got
to his opposite
an issue. Bettinger tried to roll his way out. It almost got in trouble, but able to roll through it. Now gets the reversal. 10 seconds. And this one will end with an 8-3 decision. Great third period for Zach Thomas to get the win.
Yeah, outscored him 7-2 in the third period. That's a good sign of conditioning.
195, Eric Ramos against Carter Kohler. You know, we've been fortunate in our coverage the last couple of matches we've done this year. Blaine and Anoka both went down to heavyweight. Both ended with pins to win. This one will not, a little less climactic, as the team win was decided, I don't know when, after 152?
Yeah, it was a while ago. Good performance by Coon Rapids here tonight. Coming in, like I say, this is a good tune-up, getting ready. They're getting close to showtime.
Yeah, just a couple of regular season matches remain. And a great counter there by Ramos to get the takedown. Quickly getting control of that right arm of Kohler. Trying to get him over, and he does. And Kohler in some trouble as Ramos gets chest to chest with him late in this first period.
Nice job, chest to chest.
There it is with 12 seconds left in the first period.
1 minute, 48 seconds. Eric Ramos. And 220 pounds for Centennial, Joe McCourtney, and Coon Rapids, Riley Hargrave.
Joe McCourtney on the mat at 220 against Coon Rapids' Riley Hargrave. And this could be the last match of the night, as there is no one on the roster at heavyweight for Centennial.
They did introduce Oscar Welsh, who was listed as a possible JV wrestler for them tonight.
It looks like he's got the headset on, so maybe we will see him go out there and give it a go against Gavin Layton. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to seeing Gavin wrestle again. He's been just an outstanding year. At last check, I think 36-0. And I don't know how many of those have ended with first period pins for him, but a lot.
You know, really, I mean, Gavin is really coming. You know, he's been wrestling in the summers and doing a nice job and stuff. But as far as really being known around the metro area, then the state stuff, it's really come on here quickly. I mean, I was at the Coon Rapids Andover Elk River Triangle match earlier this year, and can't tell you the number of people after the Andover match that came up to me asking me, who is that kid? Where'd he come from? And is he really only a junior? Many questions. So he's getting, he's being noticed by lots of opponents.
He's hard to miss. He's a large young man, and he asserts himself when he gets inside the circle.
Right. I love his wrestling style, especially for a heavyweight. I mean, he's wrestling. He's going out there. He's not just leaning on each other and trying to do something at the end. He's scoring points.
Nothing happening between McCourtney and Hargrave through this first period. A lot of tie-ups up top, trying to get control of the hands. A good counter by Hargrave right at the end. He'll get a takedown just before the period ends, and he'll get the 2-0 lead going into the second period. Just good job using his opponent's momentum against him. You saw him automatically trying to get him rolled over, even though it was short time in that first period. They start neutral here in period number 2 as well.
Yeah, nice job with the leverage.
Oh, Riley's another just a big, strong kid. I've known him since, I don't know, long time.
Right. I mean, this is another reason why I like the correlation between wrestling and football is these big guys can come out here and they can learn a lot about leverage, which translates into other sports.
Hargrave getting behind, trying to get him broken down, and does. Another takedown will increase his lead to 4-0. And I know Riley spent a lot of the football season on the sideline with some injuries. He's a kid who likes to compete, and he's a big, strong kid, just the way he was made. And he just started wrestling, I think, this is his third year. I think he started as a freshman and now a junior. And obviously, he's taken pretty well to it.
Yeah, it's outstanding. I just like the way you say when he competes. Key word.
Trying to keep control of the head of McCourtney. Courtney tried to roll out, and Hargrave able to roll him right back over. Down to the final 10 seconds here in the second period.
Like what he's doing here too, trying to keep control of that head and work it right to a half.
He will get 2 near fall points right before the buzzer and a 6-0 lead as we go to the third period.
Another look at the takedown there for Hargrave.
There's Lisa and Aaron, mom and dad.
Couple of aggressive tie-ups there.
And award a penalty point to McCourtney for stalling, and now locked up top, and Hargrave trying to find leverage. Switches
Headlock.
to the headlock, great hip toss, and boy, big trouble for McCourtney. Just needs to slide those hips down a little bit, and there it is. At 4:45, a pin for Hargrave.
4 minutes, 45 seconds. Randy Hargrave.
Nice headlock. Slides his hips through, arch that back a little bit.
And for Coon Rapids, Gavin Layton.
So Oscar Welsh does take the mat for Centennial against Gavin Layton. Layton quickly gets that right leg way up in the air. And will get the takedown.
He's going to turn him loose here.
Right back in for another takedown. Well, and you know, on top of that, he has gotten some media attention in the last few weeks as he's gotten his way up to that #1 spot. And I really like the things that he's said. Very mature answers and the types of things you like to hear from an athlete. I believed I was better than they thought I was. I knew I could do better. I'm still not done improving. Those types of things.
Right, and I do see that too. I mean, as good as he is right now and stuff, right or one. I mean, he can start thinking on a national type basis when he comes back as a senior, because, I mean, I think I said last year, seeing him first time as a sophomore wrestling heavyweight, he's got the frame, bottom half especially, and that top half, as he gets older and gets in that weight room a little bit more, is really going to turn him into something dominant.
He's got Welsh in some trouble already, a big 10-3 lead. Welsh not quite able to roll out of it. And there is the pin. Another in the first period for Gavin Layton. It's a lot this season, and the Cardinals make very quick work of Centennial.
Another look at it here. He just turns him over, does a nice job here, using his weight. Very smart wrestler. Just an awesome job again by
Well, that
Layton.
was one of the other things that stood out to me in the pieces I had read when they talked to him is how much he talked about how much he's learning about the sport and ways to be successful, that, you know, being a student of whatever game it is, whatever sport it is you like to compete in, and having that competitive nature, that's what every coach wants.
Oh, exactly. I mean, the coaches will give them as much as they feel the kids can handle and want. And if they get a kid like that that's just a sponge, they'll just keep feeding it to him, and they'll get him more competition. They'll do everything they can to make any one of these guys as good as they possibly can be. And hopefully other guys will, you know, learn from that too and see that. Because this is a young Coon Rapids team. I think we only had 3 seniors in the lineup tonight. And they're having some success this year, so there's no reason they can't have more success this year and build on it for a very strong season next year.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun to watch as they head into this tournament stretch over the next couple of weeks. But a very quick night for us. I want to thank you, Zahn, for coming and helping me out, adding to the broadcast some of your knowledge and experience. Always good to see you as well.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been a great time, and love Coon Rapids wrestling.
Well, we're happy to have you anytime. But that's going to do it for this edition of CTN Sports. Again, the final is Coon Rapids 72, Centennial 6. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us. Continue to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Zahn Nienaber, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.